Whoa! This is the Illusion reporting from somewhere on Spaceship Earth. I'm in my bro's office. I needed to make a message about what is the underlying stoke that keeps me high frequency. All right, I'm really into the stone structures that surround the planet, i.e. the pyramids, the Nazca lines, Angkor Wat, any of the ancient structures that predate our ability to date them is what I'm about. And so what gets me fired up is I know right here in my heart that there's a giant truth that we're not being told about what all these structures mean. And I'm going to attach some really interesting documentaries about the pyramids and various stone structures around the planet that kind of brings them all together. But what I find really interesting is that those ancient structures are still here, man. And the system and the educators are lying to us about what we are as human beings and what these structures around the planet mean to us. They're lying to us because energy should be free, right? Free energy is one of my big, huge crusades. Now, we can get all into the thing about whether we're from God or we're aliens or any of that. I'm of creation. You know, I'm just experiencing this form. So I'm not really too worried about how I got here. I'm here. But what I know is everything that I've ever been told or taught from the system or the matrix I exist in is a lie. And I've known it's a lie since I was a very young life form. And the more I've grown, the more data I've collected that has awoken me to the truth. And the truth is, we have no idea what's going on. But in our heart, we know exactly what's going on. I think that's why me and you, the viewers, relate. We know that there's something bigger going on here than just us and just all the nonsense around us. So when I begin to think about the pyramids around the planet, I realize, first of all, that everything they're telling us is a lie about them, right? And that within those pyramids is some very interesting stuff, is that they're all clocks, and that they all contain ratios of pi and the golden ratio. All of them. All of them tell where the other one is on the globe. And they all lie at certain spots on the globe. Now, I get that there's a certain class of people that have the data and are holding it out on us and using it against us. That's why they're putting fluoride in the water. That's why the GMO crops. That's why they're doing the chemtrails and all the nonsense and bombarding us with TV signals and electromagnetic pulses. But the truth of the matter is that as an individual, I am way beyond all their tools to control my perception of the information. So the more I look for the data, my spiritual self is feeding me the data that makes total sense. It's like when I don't know, the way I put it is this. It's like all of a sudden you're sitting there and you're like watching some documentary about something that's not from the standard sources. And you're like, whoa, that's pretty trippy, but it totally makes sense. Well, of course it makes sense, because you know it in your heart. You know all this is a lie. So I get really involved with the fact that we, as beings experiencing this life form, are only getting a limited sliver of information. You know, we're only getting the five senses, and we're getting fed lies that tell us to think outside the box is to be crazy. We're not crazy. We see it. We see it. And it could be ghosts to like do ESP, man, all that stuff. All I know is as far out as you can imagine it, it's probably a billion times more intense. Because, right, they say we're only using 10% of our brain, which is mind-blowing, that there's 90% of my brain that I can still use, but it has to be, I'm convinced that that 90% can only be used until I can use my heart, until I can dial in my center to communicate to my brain to do various things. And I think that's why most people remain asleep, is that they're afraid to use their heart and their brain and do anything they want, because they don't know whether they are going to do good or evil. You know, it's like the stupid thing with Star Wars, man. It's like, it's pretty easy to join the dark side of the Force because that's like a simple low frequency energy. But to go for the high frequency positive energy, man, that takes all sorts of work. And you have to bypass all the shiny stuff along the way and go to the truth. So I guess what I'm saying is, underlying what I'm about as the illusion comes with this huge worldwide grid of stone structures. And I really believe that it's an energy grid that taps into the earth and the universe and us. And we plug ourselves in spiritually, physically, and metaphysically into the earth with these stone structures that are on nodal points around the planet. And boom, we vibrate out. And that's what I think all this stuff about the 26,000 year cycle and the Mayan calendars and 2112 and all this stuff's about is, it's time to wake up, man. It's time to become a beam of light and stop getting balled up on this low frequency, three-dimensional plane we exist in. I got so much going on in my brain I can't really articulate it right now. But I'm going to put down these documentaries. One's the Carl Munch one, which is pretty math heavy. But I'm telling you, go through it, dude, because once you capture what Carl Munch is talking about, it changes your perception of everything on the planet. And this other one about revealing the pyramids is like mind-blowing too. But it really kicks in about an hour into the documentary where it all kind of coalesces together. And you're like, whoa, bro. So, I'm going to get back to you on this one. I'm just kind of fired up about pyramids, and I thought I should make the videos in case you were getting fired up about pyramids. And if you're not, you should be fired up about the pyramids. Ladies.